Yes, good day, everybody. Thanks for joining us at this Friday session today. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. So for today's session, we are very happy to have with us Miss Binni Ong from TerraSeeds to share with us what's the current latest happenings in the market. So Binni has more than 15 years of trade and training experience. And we are very excited to hear from her what she has prepared for us today. So without further ado, we'll start the session. Binni, over to you when you're ready.
Thank you, Zahan. Hello, everyone. Let me just share my screen. First, before I forget, I wish all of you a very happy Chinese New Year, because next week is Chinese New Year and today is Friday. What are you going to do later on? This is usually the question I asked. I asked whether you have eaten. I asked what are you going to do later on. Okay, let's get started. All right, let me just quickly flash the slide here. Okay, so let's do the disclaimer. From Philip, whatever that's provided here is for educational purpose and should not be considered as financial advice. From TerraSeeds, my company, whatever that's being presented here, it's not financial advice, not recommendation for any investment product. It's just purely educational. All right. For myself, this is my introduction. And if you have been to my session before, I'm giving quite a lot of talk, training, as well as trading quite a lot. Every day I look at the FX, the commodity, the stocks, whether it's US or Hong Kong or Singapore. If you need to contact me and you want to be updated often, all right, please go to the YouTube. That's where I give a lot of my thoughts in YouTube. Today I'll be covering a lot of things, but a lot of things would be more like an extension of what I've already covered in my YouTube videos, okay? Because that would be more timely. Okay, so I will do a market summary to let you know what's up for this week and then what's up for next week as well. then most likely to hear from you what you would like to discuss. But for me, what I will be doing today would be Hang Seng Index, then predominantly to focus into dollar, all right, because of the, Trump. All right, this week we have his inauguration. He finally is formally the president, and he's rolling the market with lots of news. So every day we are moving with his news. Okay. And if we do have time, we're gonna go through gold. Okay. All right. So if you would like to get a demo account to demo trade, then you can go to Phillip website to register for demo. Right. So this is how the form looks like, or you can just contact anyone from Phillip. Okay. And if you need to reach to them, that's their contact. And if you need to reach to me, all right, so this one here, it's my contact here. Okay. You can contact me here at the following. All right. So let's get started. Okay, here we go. So before I start, I'm just going to go through a few things. Number one, it's this headline here that's just hot. Okay. So what Trump said is that he had a call, all right, and that's the later things, right? He said he would rather not use tariff against China. Okay, so it started like this during his inauguration speech. He didn't mention about tariff. So what the market did was to cheer, because if he didn't mention about tariff, then it means potentially the relationship between US and China specifically, right, might be better. Okay. And if it's better, then this is going to benefit what? It's going to benefit Chinese and especially Hong Kong stock market. Okay. So during that night speech, the Hang Seng Index futures actually went up. So we're going to take a look at Hang Seng futures later on, Hang Seng Index later on. Okay. Now, second is that if he is not going to impose tariffs, or rather today the news came out, right? He would rather not use tariff against China, then the implication would be a weak USD. The USD is going to weaken. Now, why is that so? Imagine that there is no additional tariff. So when businesses import goods, right? Then it will be cheaper. So they don't need that much US dollar anymore. Okay, so in a way that the US dollar would be heading down, and this is also contributed by the fact that he said yesterday that he knows about the rate better than Fed. Okay, and he think that the rate should be lower. So if this is the case, that means he's barking already. Whoa, 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 right? He's barking, and in this case, the US dollar really reacted to what he said. The US dollar moved down. So to measure into the strength of USD, just to let you know that I'm just doing a little bit of a quick roundup. Okay. Now this is USD, and this is how we measure into the strength of USD. Okay. We use the dollar index to look at the strength of dollar versus a basket of currencies. Okay. So which are the basket of currencies? So predominantly we have 50+%, near to 60% of Euro, EUR, and the rest are mixed with like yen, pound, etc., franc. Okay, so what I have here, it's the equidistance channel. That means that for about since 2022, all right, so during this period, the US dollar, which is the dollar index, is predominantly flat. Okay, we can't say that it is uptrend. All right. Although generally, overall, it is an uptrend. Okay, so it is an up. All right. But during this 2-3 years, it's about a little bit more of a flattish movement. Okay. Now, not only that, there was this high point here. Okay, so this was the high point. And then if you look at how I've drawn this equidistance channel. The market really respected the equidistance channel, right? So what is the meaning of the equidistance channel, right? What I will do is that I will just take like the two bottom points here like this. So these are already established points, right? And then push it up, okay? So when I push it up and then to reach to the middle points, right? Between the two lows. So this is the middle point, right? You realize that during end of 2024, which was about October, there was a reaction, okay? There was a reaction on this equidistance channel. That means the price reacted and came back down. And then towards the end of 24, all right, and the start of 25, right? So price actually moved up. Okay, it reacted to this channel here and it moved up. All right. Now, what is happening here, right, is that this is a weekly bar. Okay, so 1 week, one bar is a week, right? And we are towards the end of the week because today is Friday. So what is happening here is that we are seeing the dollar index going down. Okay, so dollar index is heading down. And the dollar index at this moment, not yet confirmed because the end of the week hasn't ended yet. But the dollar index, right, is threatening to undo the breakout. What is meaning of undo the breakout? Because there was a recent high, right? And then there was a break here, right? By closing back in, all right, that means that by price moving inside the equidistance high, it is threatening to undo that breakout. That means that this break, because of whatever thing that happened, this strength in dollar index, whatever things that happened, is actually undoing it. That means it's going inside. So in other words, the breakout might not be true. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, the dollar might be in its stage of starting to weaken. Okay, because if you look at the logic of the equidistance channel, the idea is that if price is to move along this channel, all right, so at the high of the channel, if it's get resisted, it's likely to move to the low of the channel. So this is the relationship of the channel, right? At this moment, price temporarily penetrated through that top of the channel, but it's actually resuming down in its path. So in other words, if we see a resistance here, then very likely we might see the dollar drop towards the end of the channel or at the bottom of the channel and might be to break down or to get supported. And this one, I mean, it's too early to say, okay? But having a weak dollar, okay, that means when having a weak dollar isn't something that it's new to the market. In fact, that a lot of analysts are coming with the notion, all right, or the opinion that with Trump, a dollar is going to be weaker. Okay, so we are seeing this from the price action itself. So to me, my stand is that what the analysts say, that's their thoughts, right? Has it been translated to the price action? Yes, we are seeing that potentially the dollar index is actually heading lower. Okay, so I mean, everybody clear on this part here. Now, with the dollar index heading lower, many things can be done or be seen, right? So the few things that we are going to see, let me just get my, okay, here. The few things that we're going to suspect with a lower dollar index. Okay, number one, we're going to check, right, which are the crosses which are linked to the dollar. Okay, so first, just now I mentioned that with this tariff thing, all right, directly beneficial would be Hang Seng market. Okay, so before I go into the dollar pairs, since I've talked about the tariff, the first thing I would be talking about is the Hang Seng pairs. Okay, so this is the Hang Seng index. To trade that is under HSI, Hong Kong index here. Okay, so this is a CFD. All right, but I think that it follows very closely to HSI. Okay, so if you want to trade into HSI, then you can take a look at this pair here, which is HSI here. Now, first, right, let me just, if you look at my chart, I've put in the moving average. Okay, so yes, generally, overall, if you check HSI, okay, it is still down. That means the trend is still down. All right. Now, the second thing is that there is a very strong resistance at around this area here, which is about 20,700. So that's here, one resistance. That's the other one, second resistance. And third, that will be the third time this is resisted, right? Now, in other words, that if price is to move up, then we will assume, based on what happened in the history, that 22,000, around 700, 22,700, the point that I pointed out here, plus minus around there, would in turn act as a resistance. Okay, so whether this resistance will be broken is unknown because price not there yet. It really depends on how enthusiastic the market is to get back into the Hong Kong market or the Chinese market. Now, second, right? If you look at the moving averages I've inserted here, and this is a weekly chart, meaning that with a weekly chart and with this set of moving averages, it is pointing to us a little bit more on the medium term. Okay, so just to recap, if prices are below the moving averages, essentially that means a downward movement. But if prices are above the moving averages, then this whole place here is going to be a support for price. And then when it crosses, this is the start of an uptrend. Okay. Now, rolling back to what happened in 2024, then I also mentioned that in my YouTube video very recently. All right. The fact is that during September period last year, there was indeed a surge in price. Okay, so in my video, I cover HS Tech, Hang Seng Tech, but then Hang Seng Tech went up like 60%, but Hang Seng Index, okay, went up actually about 40%. Okay, 40% from the low point to the high point. Okay, and right now it is actually correcting. So last year I mentioned about HSI. You guys asked me about HSI, and I said things like, okay, we are looking for this retracement here, which is 62%, and even if it is to move down, then this is a healthy correction. Okay, because we had an impulse upward movement. That means that there was indeed a huge move up. And what the Hang Seng Index did was to correct to a reasonable price level for an entry. Okay, because this move here was a 40% surge in just 3 weeks. Okay, and it took about 3 months to do the correction. All right. So if you ask me on the technical levels, yes, it is around the 62%. So that's well supported here. And it's also around the moving average support level, which we can see very clearly here. Now, at the same time, right, one thing that I liked about the setup is that there is a retest. Okay, retest is a concept that I use very often in my own trading. All right, the whole idea of a retest is that if this is a level, okay, at about 19,000, we won't know that this is a support level until it has been proven true again. Okay, it's the same thing, right? You know, let's say for example, where there's a hole, right? And then you know, until somebody drop inside the hole, then you know that that's a hole. You know, for example, it's a whole idea like that. So a retest is a very good technique, right? To know that a particular level it's going to be true. All right, so indeed that there was a retest and then price actually bounced up. Now I know that I'm showing you from the weekly point of view. I haven't showed you the daily point of view. But from the weekly point of view, then one of my favorite favorite setup is wash and rinse. Now, what is wash and rinse, right? It means that price moved down, okay, washed, right, moved down, and then it didn't continue the downward movement. In fact, that it closed back up above the wash line. Okay, so these two pattern here. Okay, so these two candle here makes up the wash and rinse, and is a bullish pattern. Okay, it's a bullish pattern, right? So all in all, I'm just waiting to see whether this is a bullish candle or not, okay, at the close, okay, because at this moment, what is bothering Hang Seng right now is this level, which is very clear. There's a previous low and a previous high, and that's about 20,200 level, okay, based on this price feed here. All right. So end of the day, what I need to see today, okay, what I need to see today is that the week, okay, the closing price of the weekly bar, all right, it's going to be at the high 20,000. Okay, that means that the higher, the better you will be. All right. So for example, all right, 20,000 and 300 will be considered, today's range high point. All right, or 20,500 would be even better. Right. So right now, if it closes at 20,100, essentially it means that it is still being resisted. Okay, so I needed to see that it can close much higher. Okay, now the other thing is that right now I'm at the daily chart. So this is what happened during Trump's inauguration. All right, this was his inauguration speech. All right. Now there was already a rebound in the Hang Seng. So if you are in my community, you know that we were talking about Hang Seng Index rebounding and going up. Now today, all right, it is also rebounding from this correction. Okay, so all in all, that with a few pieces of news that's coming in, like Trump likes to share with you what he's thinking and the market is reacting to it. But if you look at his style, I'm not saying that we should be guessing what he's doing, but if you look at his style, he always put out some news. Okay, he doesn't really like entirely um not do something. Okay, so he bug first, right? But then does he bite? Yes, a little bit. All right, but at least his bug is suggesting to us that maybe he's not going to come to China tariff that strongly. Okay, if this is a piece of news that's going to drive the market, then Hang Seng Index would be driven higher on this piece of news. Okay, any question here? Okay, we don't have, let's continue. Okay, so second thing would be dollar. Okay, so just how I mentioned that because of Trump, all right, he is saying two things. One is that because of the tariff, then it would weaken the dollar. Because there's a more demand for foreign currency. All right, because then with a lower tariffs or with no tariffs, no additional tariffs, then businesses would be importing more of Chinese products or overseas products, so demanding more foreign currency and less dollar. So we are seeing overall the dollar, it's heading into a support level, such as, for example, Kiwi dollar, Aussie dollar, Euro dollar, Pound dollar, or in fact that we see, for example, dollar CAD, not really dollar CAD, but dollar versus franc, also at the resistance. Okay, so let me just give you a bigger picture, okay, in terms of what is happening to Kiwi dollar, for example. Okay, it's just a representation, but it's relevant, or rather, the picture is the same across a lot of dollar pairs. All right. Now, first, we have to ask ourselves, is the trend down in terms of the weekly chart? The answer is yes, right? Because you see, that's a downtrend, and this one is a downtrend. So yes, based on the moving averages, based on the swing high, swing low, all right, Kiwi dollar is in a downtrend because we do see a lower low and a lower low, right? However, take a look at this one here that happens August 22, all right, and right now. Okay, what you can see here is that price is near to the low of the August low level. Okay, so let me just give you a little bit more prices to see. Okay, so you find that at this level here, it's not only a August low, and it's also a 2019 low. Okay, and right now it's also this low here. All right, so let me just ask you one question. Okay, if you want to buy, all right, do you want to buy low or you want to buy high? I mean, just a simple question that you can interact with me, right, in the chat. Okay, so that, yeah, buy low, sell high. Yes, right? Now, the second thing, right, based on what you have observed here and the duration of 2019 all the way to 24, okay? So right now it's 25, right? It's priced right now at the low point or at the high point, based on what you're seeing here. Right now here, this one. High or low? Yes, low, right? You can see as a reference, okay? So my analysis is to pair also into, I wouldn't say fundamental, whatever that's happening right now, news flow, okay? The analysis is to flow into the news flow, right? But the news somehow came together as a lever to, as what we can see in the chart, and with the analysis in the dollar index. So what we are seeing here is that the dollar index, which is called DXY, this is the dollar index, is actually heading lower. Okay, so if you look at a pairing, let's say, for example, Kiwi and ZD over USD, right? So if the dollar index is heading lower, okay, then the Kiwi just to have to inch up a little bit, and then it would set this Kiwi versus the dollar going up. Okay, the Kiwi just have to inch up a little bit. Okay, so it's not really the Kiwi that's going higher, but the fact that if dollar is heading lower, and if the Kiwi is to remain flat, that means not moving, right? Then it will also cause the Kiwi dollar to go up. Okay, so the fact that we are seeing prices near to the low, all right, it's something which I thought that we could be looking out for, okay, for a further strength in not only the Kiwi dollar, all right, but as I mentioned, into euro, into pound, into Aussie, into Kiwi, all right, and the weaknesses of, for example, dollar versus franc, dollar versus Sing, etc., etc. Okay, so that's the first thing, right? Now, second, okay, well, has the trend fully reversed to go up? That means that we know that Kiwi has been going down. Has a is it an uptrend yet? Okay, based on this chart, okay, and not only this chart here, right, but also based on the day, right? So you put in the moving averages, okay, has the trend totally reversed to go up? The answer is no. Okay, Kiwi, for example, found a strong support here, but the trend, right, hasn't shown up, but it's starting to show sign of a reversal. Okay, so we are talking about here is a reversal potential. Reversal means the price might be potentially going up. Okay, so in the reversal potential, then we should be looking out for reversal patterns. Okay, what are reversal patterns, right? Reversal patterns such as a double bottom, it's a bullish reversal pattern, or an inverted head and shoulder is also a bullish reversal pattern. Okay, so we should be looking out for reversal pattern that's bullish. And second thing, we can also take note, right, to see whether price is forming a higher high. Okay, so for example, right, and the most traditional and trend analysis, we can see this is a high, this is a lower high as you compare to the previous high, right? And then this one is a low, and a lower low. Okay, so all these are the low and the low point, right? And the lower low, right? And then these are the highs, which is the lower high here, and then somewhat around here. Okay, so what we are seeing today with all the news flow here, now here, it's still in comparison to this one, still a lower high. Do you agree with this statement here? In comparison to this one. Okay. However, if you compare that to the most recent lower high, okay, if you take this and compare to the most recent lower high, right, then this place here, the current price, right, is starting to show sign of a strength. Okay, that means that slowly, right now, what we are seeing from prices is that the strength is slowly coming in by making a higher high versus the recent lower high. Okay, so all in all, you have to understand that the trend overall is still down, but there is this first sign, okay, that potentially the strength, all right, it's coming in with that higher high as we compare to the most recent lower high. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to tell you is that yes, Kiwi is at a strong support here and it's sign of reversing. Okay, so probably after Chinese New Year, I'm not sure, I can't remember my session. All right, we might be able to see a little bit more clues. Okay, but in any case, if I can't update you, you know, in today, in the Phillip session, then you can always go to my YouTube channel because I will be updating over there, and that's a little bit more timely. Okay. All right, so if you take this and you look at across the board, whether it is, let me just take a look at this one here, right? Okay, whether it is Aussie, just hang on for a while. Okay, whether it is Aussie or whether it is Kiwi or it's Euro, it is near the low. Okay, but overall the trend is still down, but then it is near the support level. Let's take a look at Euro. This is Euro. All right, so Euro is a little bit tricky. All right, but one of the things I kept sharing with my community is that Euro is being supported by this, you know, a downsloping trend line here, and is showing a little bit of a sign of a bullish movement upwards. Okay, all right, and lastly, we have also pound. Okay, so pound, same thing, it's also going down, but if you look at the big picture, okay, and you find similar things, which is, okay, here you go. It's at the support level. Okay, it's near that support level and it's actually bouncing upwards. All right, so one of the question is dollar cat. Now, dollar cat is a little bit different because what Trump did, right, is that he's suggesting to have a sanctions on dollar cat on Canada, all right. But at the same time, you know, dollar cat is also showing that same thing where the dollar is near to the high, okay, near to the resistance. Okay, so it is very consistent across the dollar pairs, right? Something is what I mean, quite exciting with the dollar pairs. Okay, this is the Sweezy. Did I do the dollar cat? Sorry, I did the dollar cat wrongly. Okay, so this is the dollar cat here. So as I said, right, just now was the Sweezy. Let me just correct myself because I dragged wrongly. Okay, so this was the Sweezy. All right, so it's at the resistance level. And then for dollar cat is slightly a little bit different because Trump wanted to sanction, rather wanted to you know, apply a sanction a tariff, right, to Canada. So that's why dollar cat is a little bit weaker. So just I've listed 5 pairs, right? Aussie, Kiwi, pound, euro, and dollar franc. Okay, I know that you might not be looking at dollar sing, but I thought that this is one pair that's relevant to us. In fact, that dollar sing is also showing the same thing. It is, wait, let me just let the data load. And dollar sing is also doing the same thing. It's at the resistance, and then it's actually showing a downward movement. Okay, my 2 moving averages, let me just check that. One is 21, the other one is 34. Yes, 55, sorry. 21 and 55. They are one of my favorite set of moving edges for short term and a medium term. Okay, so all in all, I think that Trump policy is quite clear right now. That would be friendlier China relationship this time round, Trump 2.0, and also a weak dollar. Okay. All right, I've come to the end of my session. Probably I can just do 2 minutes of Q&A if you do have any questions. A quick question, maybe one. And if there's anything that you urgently would want me to cover, then you can I can cover that in a YouTube. How about STI? STI, I actually covered that in my YouTube. You can just watch it there. I think I did a very, very extensive coverage on YouTube. So I don't have time for that. You just have to search under my name, my Binni Ong YouTube, and that will do. Yeah. Any thoughts about gold? For Bitcoin, I can't cover in this session here, but let me just quickly do on gold. Since yeah, gold was a very, very nice trade for us. We've been trading the long side for gold. All right. And gold is right now near to the high. In fact, I just gotten out of a position in gold after going long. Right now, pending a break of this highest point here, I mean, I do not see any reason why it is coming down yet. Okay, so I would think that the highest point is an attraction here, but whether it will break through immediately, that's a question. Okay, I mean that's something I do not know, right? But I don't see any negative reason for gold not to head up. Okay, because one thing you have to remember, if the dollar is going to go down potentially, then it also means that people will likely not to endorse into treasuries, okay? Because then very likely the treasury bond yield will be heading down as well, okay? And then if you don't put money in the treasury bond yield, you want to put money into something that's hard asset, right? So things like gold, things like property, things like something that you can buy, right? It would come in as better than a fiat currency, okay, which is physical dollar in this case here. So gold, I don't see any reason why it is not going to break higher. But again, is that if you were to buy here, you are just like very near to the all-time high. Okay, I'm sorry I can't cover all right. So if you want me, just leave me a message in the YouTube, and if I see something interesting, I will cover the YouTube. Okay, over to you, Zihan. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Binni, for the very engaging session. So before we conclude the session, let me just do a quick run through of our campaign. Okay, so for this period of January to March, one moment, it's not okay, so sorry. Okay, right. So for this period from January to March, our CFD team is running this new campaign. It's a very rewarding campaign. If you have not traded CFD with us, do give it do join us. So what you need to do is, if you have not traded CFD before, is to activate your CFD facility in your Phillip account, and then deposit money, and then do your first CFD trade. Also, that's all you need to do, and you'll be receiving a cash credit of $100. So it's a very easy action required. And then for clients who are more active, you can consider to trade more during this period from January until 31st March. So for every trade that you do thereafter, you'll be getting $10, up to $50 per day, and up to $400 for the entire campaign. So if you wish to find out more details, the terms and conditions, you can scan the QR code on the lower right corner. So for clients who are very active, you'll be receiving a total of $500 cash credit for this campaign. So do join early so that you have more time to earn more. And for the next few weeks, here are some upcoming and important economic events that could probably have an impact on the markets. So end of the month, we have a US Federal Reserve interest rate decision on the 29th January. And then 2 days later, we have the US PCE. This is a number that the Fed is monitoring very closely. So it could affect the decision for the at the meetings for subsequent months. And then in early February, we have the US employment data, the jobs opening on the 4th of February. and the US unemployment rate on the 7th of February. So all this will be before our next session on the 12th of February. So do join us again. A lot of events happening in the coming weeks. And then do come back, join us to see what are our views at that time. So you can scan the QR code here or copy and or just key in the registration link and sign up for the coming 2 sessions. So with that, we end the session here. We thank you for your participation and audience today, and we hope to see you again at our next session. Right, Vanessa? Right, sure, okay.